themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
We're working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Alma Angeles. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. We're coming to you live from Manila in Thailand. Hello, Miss Faye.
Hello, I am Faye Barta from your ABC Thailand Bureau, bringing you the latest news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines. Indonesia reported a record 2,069 coronavirus deaths in just 24 hours yesterday as the Southeast Asian nation faces its deadliest surge since the pandemic began.
Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin says that Beijing's expansive claims in the South China Sea have no basis in international law, taking aim at China's growing assertiveness in their hotly contested waters.
At least 6 Rohingya died Tuesday and thousands have been relocated in refugee camps in Bangladesh's southeast after monsoon rains triggered landslides and flash floods in the hilly settlements.
Lawmakers in the Senate and the House of Representatives on Tuesday filed resolutions congratulating and commending weightlifter Heidelin Diaz for clinching the country's first ever Olympic gold medal in Tokyo.
Mr. President.
First, here in the country, rains that may result in flooding and landslides will continue to prevail over most parts of Luzon and Western Visayas due to the southwest monsoon, according to a weather forecaster of Pagasa today. Monsoon rains or light to heavy rains will be experienced over Ilocos region, Batanes, Babuyan Islands, Apayao, Benguet, Zambales, Bataan, and Occidental Mindoro. This according to Benison Estareja of the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA. Flooding or landslides are likely, he added. The same weather condition is expected over Metro Manila, the rest of Cagayan Valley, the rest of the Cordillera region, the rest of Central Luzon, Calabarzon, Oriental Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, Northern Palawan, including Cuyo and Calamian Islands, Antique, and Aklan. Flooding and landslides are possible, especially in lowlands and mountainous areas, according to Estareja. Other parts of Luzon will have fair weather and localized thunderstorms. Other areas in the Visayas and Mindanao will have fair weather. It will be warm and humid in the afternoon. Localized thunderstorms are also possible in these areas, he added. Meanwhile, moderate to strong winds and moderate to rough seas will prevail over Luzon and the Visayas. Over Mindanao, winds will be light to moderate with slight to moderate seas.
Now, in other news, Indonesia reported a record 2,069 coronavirus deaths in 24 hours Tuesday as the Southeast Asian nation faces its deadliest COVID-19 surge since the pandemic began. Tuesday's grim tally was nearly 600 deaths, higher than the previous day, and topped last week's daily record, 1,566 deaths. And this is according to the Health Ministry. The new infections also shot up to just over 45,000 from about 28,000 on Monday. The eye-watering data comes after Indonesia this week loosened virus curbs by allowing small shops, street-side restaurants, and some shopping malls to reopen after a 3-week partial lockdown. And President Joko Widodo has pointed to falling daily infection and hospital occupancy rates, including in the hard-hit capital Jakarta, as justification for the easing. But the Delta variant has been detected in about a dozen regions outside Jakarta, densely populated Java and Bali, where infections have also soared in recent weeks.
And staying in Indonesia, the country has loosened its COVID-19 restrictions on small businesses, including small shops, street-side restaurants, and traditional markets in the capital, Jakarta, one of the country's worst-hit areas. Let's take a look.
Nah, harapannya sih Jakarta cepat pulih lagi ya, jadi biar Jakarta kayak sedia kala lagi, Mas. Karena Jakarta itu ramai, ibu kota negara, kita juga cari nafkah di sini, Mas.
Semuanya minta ketegasan aja lah gitu, biar tegas lah gitu, biar tegas. Jadi masyarakat juga nggak bingung, nggak bimbang. Ya kita juga maklumi, apalagi ada demo-demo gitu juga kan menghambat dari kami bawahan menghambat. Ajan dulu ya.
From Indonesia, let's go over to Thailand, where the vaccination at the Bangkok's Bang Su Grand Station will continue as focus turns now to younger people. Here's Jomerl Baldo from our EBC Thailand Bureau. Hello, Jomerl.
Hello, Alma. Thailand's Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha announced that vaccination services at Bangkok's Bang Su Grand Station will continue as usual, with stricter observation of social distancing measures. However, walk-in services would be discontinued, and the service will now be extended to those over 18, especially 12-week pregnant women and people who weigh more than 100 kilograms, starting August 1st. This announcement was made following a recent speculation that the facility will be closed down or transferred to the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, or the BMA. The official reminded the public who wants to get the vaccine to register in advance for appointments so that they can go straight to the vaccination points. Healthy individuals will be exempted from blood pressure checks to save more time and vaccinate more people. The Prime Minister mentioned that he would like to personally visit the field hospitals to convey support to the medical teams, but the restrictions and health protocols would not permit him. He instead listened attentively to the briefing of field situation given by the hospital director, Dr. Kitsak Aksornwo. From the start of its operation on May 14th of this year, the hospital has treated 12,268 COVID-19 patients. Currently, there are 3,592 ongoing treatment and 770 are in ventilators. For the vaccination rate update, 16 million vaccines or 16 million vaccine doses have been administered across the country, with 8.76 million or about 12.5% of the entire population having only the first dose, and 3.6 million people, or only 5.2%, have been fully vaccinated. Back to you, Alma.
Thank you very much, Jomerl, and you stay safe.
Thanks to Alma reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. I'm Jomerl Baldo. We live in interesting times.
Now, staying here in Thailand, the Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has estimated the intense COVID-19 situation that will affect the country for the next 2 or 3 weeks or 4 at most. And here's Veronica Carino, our EBC Thailand Bureau reporting. Hi, Veronica.
Hello, Faye. Yes, the intense COVID-19 situation in Thailand will affect the country for the next 2 to 3 weeks or 4 weeks at most, as estimated by Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, said Deputy Public Health Minister Sathit Pitu Techa. According to Mr. Satit, Prime Minister Prayut stated this at a cabinet meeting Tuesday, adding that relevant authorities must inform the public of the real situation. A record high of 16,533 new COVID-19 cases and 133 new fatalities in the previous 24 hours, as reported by the Public Health Ministry today. Mr. Satit stated that the Prime Minister has directed that the lockdown and curfew be reviewed in 14 days, and a decision will be made depending on the gravity of the situation. The Department of Disease Control and Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration will decide to tighten the restriction after 14 days, he said. According to the Deputy Public Health Minister, the cabinet meeting discussed measures underway to reduce the COVID-19 curve, including sending infected people back to their home provinces for treatment to relieve overcrowding in hospitals and medical facilities in the hardest hit provinces, including Bangkok. This update is from Bangkok Post. Back to you, Faye.
Thank you, Veronica, for that report. You keep safe and keep the updates coming. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Reporting live from Thailand, I'm Veronica Carino, and we live in interesting times.
Now back here in the country, the National Task Force Against COVID-19 said the visit of Israeli health experts is very timely, and it's crucial as the government ramped up its coronavirus response efforts amid the threat of the Delta variant. Now, NTF Chief Implementer and Vaccine Czar, Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr., said the vaccination program has been improved after the first delegation of Israeli experts visited the country and assist the government in ensuring proper vaccine management last month. Galvez also said the second delegation of the Israeli experts has come in a very crucial time, now that the country has detected local transmission of the more vicious Delta COVID-19 variant. The visiting Israeli team is scheduled to observe the Philippines' COVID-19 mitigation efforts and also inspect the country's hospitalization capacity within this week. Now, during the discussions, Chaim Marcos Rafalovsky, Disaster Management Coordinator of the Magen David Adom in Israel, shared how the Israeli Ministry of Health, along with medical professionals, is trying to halt the local transmission of the Delta variant. Rafalovsky said the health experts involved in virus mitigation must consider the isolation of those at risk of exposure, including active cases and their close contacts, and increase capacity on epidemiological investigations. For his part, Health Undersecretary Dr. Leopoldo Vega, head of our Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases Response Cluster, said that there are many similar practices being done by the Philippines and Israel when it comes to containing the pandemic. Dr. Vega said both countries have the same prevention and treatment practices. In the Philippine setting, Vega noted that in some houses, there is more than one family living together. Rafalovsky likewise emphasized that there are two important protocols that must be observed during a home quarantine period. Aside from prohibiting the isolated individuals to go out into public places, Rafalovsky said the quarantined persons must also avoid having direct contact with the family members until the isolation period is done and the person is cleared from the disease. The Ministry of Health in Israel also offers 24/7 medical monitoring of the patients while the home isolation is ongoing. An ambulance is on standby and ready to transfer isolated persons once they feel severe symptoms of COVID-19.
In other news, two Vietnamese companies have reached a technology transfer agreement with Japanese drug maker Shionogi to produce COVID-19 vaccines, and this is according to state media on Tuesday. Vietnam is facing a surge in COVID-19 infections, with several areas including Hanoi and commercial hub Ho Chi Minh City put under lockdown to try to contain the outbreak. And the Southeast Asian nation or Southeast Asian country, which has a population of nearly 100 million people, has been slow to procure and administer vaccines, with just 4.8 million doses given as of Tuesday. but Vietnam has shown increasing interest in securing deals on technology transfers of COVID-19 vaccines. Vietnamese firms AIC and Biotech have signed a deal with Japan's drug maker Shionogi to produce vaccines. Health Ministry official Nguyen Ngo Quang told the ministry mouthpiece Su Ko Doi Song on Tuesday. The report also said all sides have signed a confidentiality agreement where the health ministry is preparing a plan to conduct phase 3 clinical trials for Shionogi's vaccine in Vietnam. It is hoped that vaccine will be brought to the market in June 2022. A biotech representative declined to comment when contacted by AFP, while AIC was not immediately available. It comes after Russia announced last week that a test batch of the Sputnik V coronavirus vaccine was produced for the first time in Vietnam, following a deal between Vietnam's state-owned pharmaceutical company, the biotech, and the Russian Direct Investment Fund. Vietnam's Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Le Thi Thu Hang said Vietnamese authorities have also discussed the transfer of technology with a U.S. firm to produce messenger RNA or mRNA vaccines.
Meanwhile, local residents in Vietnam's capital, Hanoi, are now receiving Moderna COVID vaccine jabs as the country is striving to slow the spread of the virus. Take a look.
Bản thân em thấy sau khi tiêm một mũi thấy cảm thấy mình an tâm hơn khi bây giờ đang làm ở trong môi trường công sở thì cũng cảm thấy phần nào an tâm hơn và cả an tâm cho cả gia đình và xã hội.
Thì chúng tôi nghĩ rằng là đang cái dịch bùng phát rất là gay, thì chúng tôi cũng là một trong những đối tượng được ưu tiên tiêm sớm, thì tôi thấy là cảm thấy là an toàn và cũng yên tâm.
Rồi mình cũng hướng dẫn là người dân là tất cả các vaccine đều có coi là tác dụng bảo vệ như nhau, thế nên là cứ có mà trên phân bổ vaccine gì thì sẽ tiêm vaccine đấy và cho bà con yên tâm.
As earlier said by Faye, more than 10 million residents of Ho Chi Minh City was placed under a strict overnight curfew beginning Monday. Hardest hit are the northern Israel industrial centers and Ho Chi Minh City in the south, which has registered more than 62,000 infections since April, making up the bulk of Vietnam's 101,000 cases. Authorities have restricted movement in the once bustling economic hub for more than 2 months. They've also imposed a lockdown in early July. Residents are allowed to leave home only for medical emergencies and food. But beginning Monday, an additional strict stay-at-home order was in effect from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. local time, though authorities refused to use the word curfew. Now, no end date was announced for the measure.
Now in the Philippines, Malacanang on Wednesday expressed appreciation over Vice President Maria Leonor or Leni Robredo's efforts to help the government in containing the coronavirus disease 2019. This after Robredo, during her Ulat Sabayan address, touted her office's initiatives to fight COVID-19. In a press statement, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the palace never regarded Robredo's determination to provide assistance to the Filipino people amid the prevailing COVID-19 pandemic. Also, Roque said, "We welcome the initiatives of the Vice President in the fight against COVID-19, which she enumerated in her Ulat Sabayan, and we are in no way diminishing her efforts in this trying time." In her Ulat Sabayan address delivered on Tuesday, Robredo announced her office's success in helping the frontliners and the Filipino people amid the pandemic despite having a measly budget. And Robredo said her office has been able to provide frontliners with free shuttle services and temporary shelters, personal protective equipment, medical supplies, and food and care packages.
And the news continues here on ASEAN in Focus. Faye and I will be back right after this break.
ng aking pamilya at ng buong sambayanan hanggang sa ibayong dagat ay mainit at taos-pusong bumabati sa lahat ng mga kaanib ng Iglesia Ni Cristo sa pagdiriwang ng inyong 107 anibersaryo. Parang kailan lang nang magsimulang ipangaral ng sugo sa huling araw na si Ka Felix Y. Manalo ang mga salita ng Diyos at naitala ang Iglesia Ni Cristo sa Pilipinas noong Hulyo 27, 1914. Nawa ay manatili ang inyong katatagan at tagumpay hanggang sa dumating ang ikalawang pagparito ng ating Panginoong Hesus. Mabuhay ang Iglesia ni Cristo.
Congratulations and happy 107th anniversary to the members and the officers of Iglesia Ni Cristo. I think it's wonderful that one of your chapels is one of the many different faith communities here in the city of Burlingame. It's an honor to help you celebrate your history today, and I hope this day is filled with joy, celebration, and peace. Salamat.
Welcome back. Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin said that Beijing's expansive claims in the South China Sea have no basis in international law, taking aim at China's growing assertiveness in the hotly contested waters. Austin's broadside came at the start of his first trip to Southeast Asia as U.S. Defense Secretary, as he seeks to rally allies in the region as a bulwark to China. Speaking in Singapore, Austin criticized China's actions in the disputed sea, where Beijing has overlapping territorial claims with several Southeast Asian states. Take a look.
Beijing's claim to the vast majority of the South China Sea has no basis in international law. That assertion treads on the sovereignty of the states in the region. We continue to support the region's coastal states in upholding their rights under international law. And we remain committed to the treaty obligations that we have to Japan in the Senkaku Islands and to the Philippines in the South China Sea. Unfortunately, Beijing's unwillingness to resolve disputes peacefully and respect the rule of law isn't just occurring on the water. We've also seen aggression against India, destabilizing military activity and other forms of coercion against the people of Taiwan, and genocide and crimes against humanity against Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang. We will not flinch when our interests are threatened, yet we do not seek confrontation. So let me be clear. As Secretary, I am committed to pursuing a constructive, stable relationship with China.
President Joe Biden's administration wants to reset relations with Asian countries and build alliances to face Beijing after the turbulence and unpredictability of the Donald Trump era. The U.S.-China relationship has deteriorated over a range of issues, from cybersecurity and tech supremacy to human rights in Hong Kong and Xinjiang. After Singapore, Secretary Austin will visit Vietnam and the Philippines, and he will seek to underline that the U.S. is a stabilizing force in Southeast Asia, according to a senior defense official. A booming region home to more than 650 million people, Southeast Asia has become a key battleground for influence between the United States and China.
In other news, monsoon rains triggered deadly landslides and flash floods in the hilly settlement of refugee camps in Bangladesh, forcing thousands to be relocated.
ভলান্টিয়ার কেউ আপনাকে বলবেন যে এই এখানে শুধু গঙ্গা একটু দূরের গুলি এটা অসুবিধা না আমরা সুরক্ষাল করে উদ্ধার চালাই দিলে কেউ আসেনি
Meanwhile, at least 6 Rohingya died Tuesday and thousands have been relocated in refugee camps in Bangladesh's southeast after monsoon rains triggered landslides and flash floods in the hilly settlements, according to officials. 5 Rohingya, including 3 children, were buried and killed after part of that hill crushed their bamboo and tarpaulin shanties in Balukhali camp, according to Refugee Commissioner Shah Rezwan Hayat. Another Rohingya child died after he drowned in a stream in the nearby Palongkali refugee camp, the official added, saying that all streams in the camps were raging due to flash floods. Nearly 1 million Rohingya live in overcrowded camps in Bangladesh's southeastern district of Cox's Bazar, which borders Myanmar. Some 740,000 Rohingya fled their Rakhine State homes in August of 2017, escaping a brutal clampdown by Myanmar security forces. Thousands of these refugee families, especially those who live in the valleys within the 7,000-acre settlements, remain at high risk of landslides every year during the monsoon. Last month, 2 refugees were killed in separate landslides during heavy rain.
The U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin decried the actions of Myanmar's military rulers on Tuesday and urged a regional bloc to keep demanding an end to the violence. Let's take a look.
And we applaud ASEAN for its efforts to end the tragic violence in Myanmar. The Myanmar military's refusal to respect the inalienable rights of the Burmese people and to defend their basic well-being is flatly unacceptable. A military exists to serve its people, not the other way around. And so we call on the Myanmar military to adhere to the ASEAN 5-point consensus and to forge a lasting peace.
The United States also on Friday renewed calls on Myanmar's junta to free a jailed U.S. journalist as concerns grow about a COVID-19 outbreak in prisons packed with detained activists. Danny Fenster, managing editor of the Frontier Myanmar news outlet, was taken into custody on May 24 after the military deposed the civilian government on charges under a law against dissent that carries up to 3 years in prison. And adding to concerns, COVID-19 has been sweeping through Myanmar's prisons as the military rounds up activists and opposition politicians. Nhan Win, a close confidant of a detailed civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi, died Tuesday after contracting COVID-19 in prison, according to the authorities.
Malaysia's government will not extend the controversial coronavirus state of emergency beyond August 1, according to a minister, as Parliament convened after a months-long suspension that sparked widespread anger. The King in January declared the country's first nationwide state of emergency in more than half a century to fight COVID-19, following the advice of Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin. It allowed the government to rule by decree and suspend Parliament, prompting critics to accuse Muhyiddin of using the crisis to avoid a no-confidence vote and shore up his weak coalition. Despite the emergency and a nationwide lockdown, the outbreak only worsened, fueled by the highly infectious Delta variant. Malaysia's caseload reached the 1 million mark at the weekend, and there have been around 8,000 deaths. Hospitals are crowded and overwhelmed. Recent images showed patients sitting on chairs and sharing oxygen cylinders. Opposition leaders like Democratic Action Party Deputy Chairman Gobind Singh Deo during a parliamentary session on Monday said they weren't informed about the annulment, which happened last week, and they are demanding to know what the impact on the wider public would be. Some experts had said that even the current emergency measures were half-baked and would not help improve the situation. However, it has taken a huge economic toll on people, especially on daily wage earners and the lower income families. Some of them have been flying white flags outside their homes as a plea for help.
More updates around the ASEAN region after this short break.
Ipinapaabot ko ang aking taos-pusong pagbati sa ika-107 anibersaryo ng Iglesia Ni Cristo. Higit dito, malaki ang papel na ginagampanan ng INC sa bawat adhikain ng ating bansa. Naway patuloy na lumawak at tumibay ang inyong samahan sa susunod pang mga taon. Maligayang anibersaryo, INC.
I am Kaya Celine Dorado, candidate number 20 of this year's Miss World Philippines, greeting our brethren from all over the world. Happy 107th anniversary po, and may God bless us all.
Magandang buhay sa inyo lahat. Ako si Ka Roberta Angela Santos Samundong, ang iyong Miss Ecoteen International 2020. And then I would just like to greet all of the members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo all over the world that it's our 107th anniversary. And I'm proud to say that I'm Iglesia Ni Cristo. Mahal ko kayong lahat.
Happy 107th anniversary, Iglesia Ni Cristo. God bless and more power.
Gusto ko lang batiin ang ating mga kapatiran sa Iglesia Ni Cristo ng Happy 107th Anniversary. God bless you, everybody. Stay safe.
Isa pong mapagpalang pagbati sa inyong lahat sa mahigit 1 siglong paglilingkod sa kapwa at sa Panginoon. Hangad ko po ang patuloy na tagumpay ng Iglesia Ni Cristo sa inyong pagpapalaganap ng mga salita ng Diyos. Hindi lamang sa bansang Pilipinas, kundi maging sa buong mundo. Tunay nga po na ang Diyos ay nalulugod sa inyong matapat na paglilingkod. Ito po si Vicente Soto III, Pangulo ng Senado, na bumabati sa inyong ika-107 anibersaryo. Mabuhay po ang Iglesia Ni Cristo.
Welcome back. The National Assembly on Tuesday adopted a resolution on socio-economic development plan for the 2021-2025 period, targeting average growth rate of 6.5 to 7% over the period. The plan is a planning instrument with a multi-sectoral approach which sets out overall objectives. This is in Vietnam, ensuring rapid and sustainable growth on the basis of enhanced macroeconomic stability, development of science, technology, and innovation, striving to achieve average growth rate higher than that in the 2016 to 2020 period, and striving to turn Vietnam into a developing country with modernity-oriented industry, and surpassing the low middle income status, improving productivity, quality, effectiveness, and competitiveness of the economy, carrying out comprehensive solutions to overcome the impacts of the pandemic, and boost recovery, among others. The annual GDP growth is projected to average 6.5 to 7% in the 2021 to 2025 period, while the GDP per capita is estimated to reach $4,700 or $5,000 to $5,000 by 2025.
In other news, data science, analytics, and digital transformation can help make better policies and deliver better services as the Philippines heads to a new and better normal, the National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, said. And I quote, "I have always believed and advocated for digital transformation within the government in order to strengthen policy making and service delivery. The government and businesses alike need to use data science to make better policies. This has become even more urgent in the new normal," end of quote. Socioeconomic Planning Secretary Carl Kendrick-Chirwa said during the 2021 Analytics Summit, Philippines on Tuesday. Organized by the Analytics Association of the Philippines, or AAP, the summit convenes key stakeholders from various sectors to evaluate and learn more about how best practices in data science and analytics will help the country take on challenges of socioeconomic development and service delivery while keeping the pace with the fourth industrial revolution. Then the chief further underscored the significance of digitalization during the pandemic when social protection programs need to be efficiently delivered using information and communications technology, or ICT.
A vast forest complex in Thailand has been added to UNESCO's World Heritage List, despite the UN's own experts warning of human rights violations against indigenous people in the area. The Kayeng Krachan Forest Complex in western Thailand is rich in biodiversity, including the critically endangered Siamese crocodile, UNESCO said Monday in its listing announcement. But it's also home to an indigenous community of ethnic Karen people who have long accused the Thai government of using violence and harassment to push them off their land. Thailand had lobbied for years to get World Heritage status for the complex, and Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha praised UNESCO's decision, vowing to protect the forest according to international standards. The World Heritage Committee did not list the park in 2016 and 2019 because of rights concerns. The dispute has been simmering for decades. While many indigenous residents were allegedly driven out of the area, those remaining were not allowed to cultivate the land. Now, authorities say their farming activities would damage the forest, but activists argue that traditional farming methods don't harm the environment. Rights campaigners have accused Thai officials of using harassment and violence to force indigenous people out. And the news continues here on Eagle News. ASEAN in Focus. We'll be right back.
What a joy the Lord has given us as the Church of Christ marks your 107 years of service, the service of grace that the Lord has given us. While this church may have started from humble beginnings, it is amazing to see how it has brought together such a large faith community over the years. As you are turning that page of history, I do hope that you continuously preach the gospel of salvation written in the Bible and guide them in the proper worship of God and righteous way of life leading to salvation. Happy 107th anniversary to all of you.
Alam niyo po, batid ko po ang mabuti niyo pong ginagawa sa inyong komunidad at sa atin pong sambayanan. Kaya gusto ko lang pong sabihin sa inyo na appreciate po namin yan at sana po ipagpatuloy niyo po ang gawain ninyo, mabuting gawain ninyo. At muli po akong bumabati, taos puso po akong bumabati sa inyo pong lahat. 107th anniversary, happy anniversary po, more power.
Gusto ko lang po kayong batiin ng 107th anniversary sa ating mga kapatid sa Iglesia Ni Cristo. More power at maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Sa bumabati po sa inyo sa lahat ng mga kapatid natin sa Iglesia Ni Cristo ng 107th year anniversary. Maraming salamat po and God bless.
Taus-pusong bumabati sa ika-107 anibersaryo ng Iglesia Ni Cristo. Bumabati rin po ako sa buong pamunuan at sa mga kapatid sa Iglesia. Congratulations and all the best.
Welcome back. Filipinos have expressed honor and pride after weightlifter Heidelin Diaz won the country's first Olympic gold medal at Tokyo 2020 on Monday. Let's listen in to some reactions.
Actually, I felt empowered because I do weightlifting din kasi. So, na-inspire ako sa kanya. Lalo na nanalo siya ng gold medal. Kasi she's been trying since 2014, I think. So, yeah, nung nanalo siya, parang as girls, go girl. Parang empowered na kami.
Yes po, sobrang proud po as a Pilipino. Kasi nandun kasi tayo sa point na parang nawawala na rin yung natin, yung support. Or hindi na rin natin masyadong nabibigyan ng attention yung mga ganong bagay. So parang isa na rin yung way para at least bumalik ulit yung suporta natin sa mga ganong sport sa Pilipinas.
Weightlifter Heidelin Diaz made history on Monday when she became the first athlete from the Philippines to win an Olympic gold medal. The 30-year-old Rio 2016 silver medalist from the southern city of Zamboanga realized her dream in the women's 55-kilogram class at the Tokyo International Forum, smashing her personal best to see off world record holder Liao Chuyun of China, who had to settle for silver. With a massive effort, she hoisted a huge Olympic record weight, and the tears of joy began to flow even before she dropped the bar to the floor after a triumphant effort. Liao took the silver with Kazakhstan's Zulfiya Chinchanlo, the bronze 10 kilograms adrift of the top two. Diaz was already assured a place in her country's sporting folklore alongside the likes of boxing icon Manny Pacquiao as the only woman from the sprawling archipelago ever to win an Olympic medal. Her surprise silver 5 years ago, breaking a 20-year medal drought for the Philippines. Diaz's stunning victory was splashed across the front pages of the Philippine newspapers and dominated internet platforms.
In related news, Olympic gold medalist Heidelin Diaz will receive a 200,000 pesos cash incentive from City Mayor Carmelo Lazatin Jr. Lazatin said the Angeles-based Diaz, who has a home at the Deca Clark Resort and residences in Barangay Sapang Bato here, trained in one of the CrossFit gyms in the city. We often do exercises with Olympic champion Heidelin in the gym, and we are glad that she won the gold medal, the mayor said in an official social media post on Tuesday. The 30-year-old Diaz on Monday won the women's 55-kilogram weightlifting competition at the Tokyo Olympics, beating world record holder Liao Chuyun of China and Zulfiya Chinchanlo of Kazakhstan. Diaz won a silver medal in the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, a bronze medal in the 2015 World Weightlifting Championships, and won third place in the 2019 World Lifting Championships in Pattaya, Thailand. House of The lawmakers in the Senate and the House of Representatives on Tuesday filed resolutions congratulating and commending weightlifter Heidelin Diaz for clinching the country's first ever Olympic gold medal in Tokyo. Let's take a look.
A true inspiration and motivation to our youth, especially in those in the far-flung areas where opportunities are elusive and hindered by poverty. So in the Senate, we continuously pushed for higher budget for our athletes to be lodged in the Philippine Sports Commission.
So I'm getting a bit emotional because yan ang tinatawag talaga natin po, Mr. President, na puso. Matayo aking balahibo. Talagang puso. Sabi niya, nothing to lose. It's either I win or I lose, but I'll do it for God and country. And she grabbed that 127 kilogram weights, lifted up her head. Nakita po natin yung hirap sa mukha niya. Pero sumisigaw siya sa loob at inangat niya po itong barbells na ito para sa bansa. Napakalapad pa na kanyang stance. I was worried because with such a wide stance, it's very difficult to stand up. But she put all her might and all her power into that.
ang ganitong dala ng pagkapanalo ni Hidelin ay nagbigay ng liwanag at kislap na may maganda pang pag-asa tayong kinaharap. Tunay nga naman na walang imposible, Mr. President. Lahat ay posible kung may pinaghirapan, pinagtutuunan at pinagpaguran. With all the accolades, praises, and compliments given to Hidelin, may isa na talaga namang tumulak sa aking isip at umantig sa aking puso. Ito ang larawan ng kanyang mga kamay na puno ng kalyo at sugat, hawak ang gintong medalya. Hidelin's callous and hardened hands are her life story. The hard lines, the calluses, the scars tell the struggles she won and lost, the challenges she hurdled and overcome, the hard work she toiled and accomplished, the tears she tried to hold but shed, and to all the dreams she once thought were impossible, but now realize.
Nais ko pong pagbigay alam po na ako po'y nandirito lang po, nasa likod, handang tumulong sa tahimik na paraan. Bukas po ang aking opisina sa anumang tulong, financial o anumang assistance na aking pwedeng ibigay, even in my own personal capacity.
In filing House Resolution 1982, Philippine Olympics Committee President and House Deputy Speaker Abraham Tolentino said Dia's victory in the 55 kilograms category in women's weightlifting at the Tokyo Olympics showed that Filipinos can excel at the highest level on the world stage. Deputy Speaker Eduardo Villanueva also filed a still unnumbered resolution that congratulates, commends, and honors Diaz for bringing immense pride, honor, and joy to the nation for her historic performance in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Senator Pia Cayetano filed Senate Resolution 805 commending Diaz for bringing home the Philippines' first Olympic gold medal since it joined the quadrennial meet in 1924. In her Senate Resolution 798, Senator Raisa Hontiveros lauded Diaz for rising above the challenges laid in her path to winning the exclusive Olympic gold medal for the country.
Thank you very much, Faye, for keeping me company today. But before we go, I would like to greet you a very happy birthday. And thank you so much for your selfless dedication to the station. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much, Alma. Thank you so much for your guidance as well. This would never be done if you are not with us. Thank you so much. Once again, this is Faye Barta from your EBC Thailand Bureau. Thank you for tuning us with us. See you back tomorrow from your EBC Thailand Bureau, and we live in interesting times.
Again, happy birthday, Faye, and we'll see you back tomorrow. I'm Alma Angeles. We live in interesting times.